Hey, hi, good evening, everyone. Good evening, friends. Welcome back to our last day of this SQL crash course. And today we are going to learn the final topic. It is Python and database connection. How we are going to establish a connection between Python and database. It might be any database, right? So, but in order to understand this specific topic, I should probably explain you what exactly happens in real world, right? So we'll quickly recap what we have covered so far as part of this program. Okay, so you know starting from day one, we understood what is SQL. Okay, what is the purpose of SQL, then the commands, the five languages, the importance of these languages and the commands under these languages we have understood, and followed by the data types, then operators, right? Yes. Then clauses, constraints, and then joins, window functions. So all the important topics as part of structured query language, we have understood far so far, and today will be the last day where we are going to learn one more important topic. It is nothing but integrating Python with database. With database, right? It's been a wonderful journey so far because day by day, I see uh, an immense response. There is a lot of response from participants, the folks who are joining the sessions online, and even the feedback that you have given is given gave us a lot of enthusiasm to conduct many sessions in future as well. I assume no questions in the previous topics that were discussed. In the same way, let us also conclude our program, the ongoing program, with this particular topic. Okay, so even this particular session, I want you guys to interact with me in the same way, and finally I take up your questions at the end of this session, right? So today, the topic that we are going to discuss is how can we integrate Python and a database. Okay, so when I'm talking about database, I'm specifically mentioning any relational database management system. Okay, don't go to non-relational database management system. I'm specifically talking about relational database management system. I need not explain, right? Relational databases. So in our case, we are learning MySQL. Okay, we also have Postgres, then Oracle, then MS SQL Server, MariaDB, so on. There are n number of RDBMS systems. The process is same, friends. Whatever we are going to learn, whatever we are going to understand in today's session, the process will be same. What will be changing is this database will be changing. Why? Why, Akhil? Why should this database change in each and every scenario? It depends on the company that we work for. Am I right? Yes. See, for example, if I have 100 students in my class, not 100 students will be placed in the same company. These 100 students will be part of probably 100 different companies. And if there is any, kind of luck, probably two or three folks will be part of the same company, same organization. So this, when there is a change with respect to the company, obviously the database will be changing. From case to case, the database will change. Yes, first company may use MySQL, then second company may use Postgres, third company may use Oracle, fourth company may use uh, MariaDB, fifth company may use MS SQL Server. In this way, if I keep on going, there are n number of databases. I'm telling there are n number of RDBMS systems, and depending on the organization, they are depending on the cost, depending on the project, it varies. Okay, so don't expect this database will be constant in all the cases. No, it keeps on changing. But what is common across all this? SQL is common. Why? SQL is the only language which helps us to communicate with any RDBMS system, whatever might be the database management system. We are not worried about it, but we are worried about SQL, because if you learn SQL, if you learn this particular language, you can communicate to any one of these systems, right? So probably there will be a small difference with respect to the syntax. This particular point I have communicated on day one itself. Am I right? Yes. So today we'll understand the integration of Python and database. How we are going to, make connection between Python and database. Is it possible? First of all, yes, it is possible. How? We'll understand the process. But before that, why should we integrate? The question comes. Why should I connect Python and database? Why, Akhil? What is the necessary? Come on, friends. Give me some answers. Why should we integrate Python and database? What is the necessary for that? Is there any necessary? Why should that action perform? We should perform that action. Please respond. Anyhow, today is our last day, right? So respond. Why should we integrate Python and database? Yes, perfect. See, whenever you try to answer, you may not be correct in all the cases. Even if you're wrong, that's okay. But respond. No answers. Seems no one is responding. Okay, I'll talk. Friends, I'll ask you some simple questions. What is the purpose of database? Why should an organization, okay, why should an organization, use a database? What is the purpose of using a database? Come on, respond. To store their data. Depending on the volume, I'm not talking about large or small or whatever it might be. See, depending on the company's data, no one in the current market, in the current industry, no one is storing the data in file systems, in files. No, this is the traditional method that used to be followed way back, probably in 19th century. Okay, even in the starting of 20th century, yes, this is followed. But in today's, you know current industry, If you go and look out for any company, they are storing the data, company's data, either in a database or in cloud. I'll not talk about cloud. See, cloud is also, it's a platform where it offers us many services. Out of one of the services, you'll have a database as a service, which helps us to store the data. So this is not, the cup of tea. So let us not talk about cloud, but no, our topic is database. Why should a company use databases? In order to store their data, they have to go and use database. Good. Then, if you have all the data of your organization in a database, okay, so obviously, what you are supposed to do, you know, I want to do some kind of analysis on our data. Okay, for example, I have an organization, and my organization name is XYZ. Okay, name of my organization is XYZ. So probably I have some products in my organization. I'm not talking about employees. I'll have some, projects or products, whatever it might be. Yes. So with respect to these products, okay, products info, where can I get the information about the products? Obviously, the information is stored in a database. The database that the company is using, you know, it's where the data is getting stored. So what I do is, if I want to do some kind of analysis on the products, what I'm supposed to do, I have to get the data first. From where? From the database. From the database, get the data. Where would you like to do analysis? I would like to do this analysis in Python. Using Python, I do analysis. Okay, so data analysis will be done using Python, assume. But where do you have the data? I have it in database, right? So how do you get the data into Python? When we integrate both database and Python, we can get the data to Python. So that is why we integrate Python and database. See, I just took an example. Okay, this is what you don't assume that in every scenario for data analysis only, we go and integrate database and Python. No, depending on the scenario, okay, you are supposed to integrate. I hope you are getting the point, right? See, not for all the cases. In all the cases, we do analysis. In some cases, we'll do other actions, right? So upon the action, upon the requirement, we go and integrate both Python and database. But as this particular, you know, point is actually sinking to us, okay, whatever we have understood so far, I have took this data analysis as the example, right? I hope it's making sense. You know, uh, what I'll do is, initially I have to get the data from the database to Python, right? In order to get the data from database to Python, I have to make a connection between database and Python. And once if the connection is established, I can get the data and I can do my analysis. Once if I complete my analysis, I can store my output, back to the database if it is required. So for that purpose, we make a connection between, Python and database. So that is what we are going to understand in today's class. How it is done, what is the process, we'll understand each and every point. Okay, once again I'll repeat it in a clear picture. I'll show it to you what exactly we are going to do. I hope it's making sense. No questions so far. Okay, so I'll keep it very straight. Data You have it in database, DB. Database is a place, is a container where you have your data kept in an organized fashion, okay, where it is stored. So, but this on this data, if I want to do some kind of action, okay, using Python, what I'm supposed to do, I have to make a connection with the database. Python and database should be connected. Once after you connect this, once if you establish the connection, this data can be, you can pull the data, you can fetch the data into Python, and you can do whatever you want, your requirement. Upon your requirement, you'll do that rest of steps, right? So this is what happens in real time. When you work in real world, when you work in any of the projects, this is what happens, because directly you'll have the data in database, right? So obviously you're supposed to pull the data, fetch the data. Once after making the establishment, the connection is done, you can pull the data into Python and do your required steps, work on the data, okay? But in our case, what we are going to do is, I don't have any database. Anyhow, I have installed MySQL. I'm working on a relational database management system. But today, the process, whatever I'm going to teach you, will be a bit complicated. Why it is complicated is, see, the first step. What is the first step? In real time, you'll obviously have the data stored in database. But do I have any data in my database? No, because this is the database which I have in my local machine, right? In my machine, I have the database. I installed that MySQL, and I don't have any data. Assume I don't have any data. So what you are supposed to do? You are supposed to, first of all, pull the data. What you are going to do? You have to, okay, let me come from starting. That would be best. The first step will be identify where do you have the data. I have the data in an Excel file, okay, or CSV file. Normal file, I have my data. But where do you have data in real time? In real time, I have my data in database. But in our case, it is a file. Okay, whatever might be the file, in a file, I have the data. So let us create a real-time situation, a scenario. Okay, so what I'm supposed to do, second step will be, creating that relationship, connection. This is nothing but connection between Python and database. We'll connect Python and database. Once after connecting Python and database, I'll push the data which is present in a file, okay, which is present in a file to database using this connection. Okay, so once after pushing the data into database, then I'll fetch the data. This is the fourth step. So this is what we do, right? Till here, I'm creating the real-time scenario. So that is the reason it is giving me more steps. But in real time, directly, once after creating the connection, you can fetch the data, right? So I can directly fetch the data once if I have the data in database. Then I'll carry on. I'll move on. So these are the steps that we are going to do in today's session. We are going to understand how can we, create a real-time scenario. So in real time, you'll not do all these steps. Why? Because in real time, you'll not have the data in Excel file. Directly, you'll have the data in database. So this is not required. You are supposed to create a relationship. You are supposed to connect Python and database. Then This is not required. You need not push the data into database. Obviously, you'll have the data in database. Then directly, once after creating the connection, fetch the data and you carry on. You move on to the next steps. Right? So this is what we do in real time. And what is the process? Each and every step you'll understand. Okay. So focus. This requires a clear understanding on Python language, because since we are going to, you know, we are going to integrate Python in database, for sure you should have at least a basic knowledge on Python. If not, probably you'll not understand this session. No. So friends, I have already done uh, a series of sessions, a series of videos were already we have done it on Python fundamentals. So if you are not good at Python programming, or if you are not aware of Python programming, go and watch those particular playlist. Okay, so we have it. We have a playlist called as Python to AI. Go and watch those sessions on Python. At least you'll be aware of Python basics. Only then you can understand this particular session. If not, it will be a nightmare for you. Impossible. Okay, right. So I hope it's very clear. The agenda, the process, whatever we are going to learn as part of today's session, it's very clear. Now let us continue. Right. So I hope the screen is also clear, even the characters and all. So you see, I'm working on Spider. Okay, this is Spider IDE. I'm using Spider for my Python execution. So what is the first step? First step is always importing the necessary libraries. Whatever is required, you are supposed to import them. So I'm importing pandas as PD. So pandas is a module which helps us to perform data manipulation. Okay, in order to manipulate the data, in order to do some kind of activities with respect to reading, saving back and all, you are supposed to go and use pandas functions. So I'm just importing pandas, the entire module as PD. So giving an alias name, that is PD. Then the next one is SQL Alchemy. So this is the important library, because this is the library which helps us to connect Python and database. So I'm talking about the relationship, right? How you are going to connect Python and database, that is done using SQL Alchemy. From SQL Alchemy, import create engine and text. So I'm importing two functions from SQL Alchemy. Okay, you see, I'm just clicking on the execute button and I can get the output in the console. And finally, I'm also importing code function from url_lib.parse, because I have special characters in my password. Because of that, uh, you know I'm using this code function. If you don't have any special characters in your password, especially at the rate, if you don't have special characters, ignore this particular line. Line number 4 is not required. Okay, this is not required. Anyways, but in my case, I have special characters. I am using it. Okay, then so now let us start the process. What is the first step? The first step is, you are supposed to uh, see where exactly we have the data. I have the data in a CSV file. So get the location of the CSV file, okay, the path, the file path, and use it under read_CSV, a function from pandas, pd.read_CSV, which helps us to read any CSV file object. Okay, so once after reading this data, you'll have that particular data in your Python. So with data as the name, I'm going to store in my Python's memory. See, I can see the data. Let me open it. So this is my data set, which I have it in a CSV file. Okay, so what I'm doing it, the first step, I'm reading the data which I have in a CSV file to Python's memory. Into the Python memory, we have the data is being read. Done. Then you're supposed to pass, or you're supposed to give all the credentials of the database one by one. What is the username? So where do you have the username? Open your MySQL, go back. So you'll have the username here. By default, everyone will have only one user, that is root. You can create a number of users. Okay, depends upon the situation. You are supposed to create users. So specify the user, it is root. Then DB. What is DB? DB is representing database friends. Okay, whatever the database that you have already, give one of the database in which you would like to store the data. So I'm using test database. Check whether do I have test or not. Yes, I have test. So I have test. Then obviously you should also mention your password, the database password. These three are mandatory: username, password, and database name. Okay, once after providing all the credentials, scroll down. I mean, go to the next step. The next step is establishing a connection between Python and database. How it can be established? It can be established using create underscore engine function. So that is what I'm using here, create underscore engine. Within that I have, let me make it small. Yes. So you see here, within create engine, what do you have? I have a string, f string. This is nothing but string formatting. I hope you remember the concept of string formatting. So this string formatting has MySQL, PyMySQL, the driver name and the database name. Additionally, it also has user, DB, PW. What are these three? Are credentials. So using the concept of string formatting, I will, it replaces the values of user, DB, and password with these three values in this string. Okay, so once after executing this line, okay, you should get a positive response. If you get any kind of issues, so that means, there is no connection established between your Python and database. So let me execute this. See, you see what is the message that we have here? It says database DB is not defined. That means I did not execute line number 12 and 11. Okay, how come do you know, Akhil? You see here, if you have executed, you should have 11 number. If you have executed line number 11 and 12, for sure you should have them in variable explorer. So let us execute 11, 12, done. Password and user are saved in our variable explorer. Okay, right. So let me execute line number 16 as well to establish the connection. Is it done? Yes, it is done. I'm done with the connection. What if I don't have any kind of special characters? You need not mention this code function. Within this, single string, this can be replaced like this. Instead of line number 16, you can go with line number 19. The driver name, username, password, @localhost, the server name, and the database. Since I have password, in my password there is a special character @, you know, uh, the interpreter gets confused, and because of it, I'm using code function. This helps me, in understanding the password in the right way. Done. So I'm done with The connection part. What is the next step? The next step is pushing the data from Python's memory to database. So for that, I'm using to underscore SQL. To underscore SQL is a function which helps us to push the data from Python to the database, to the table, nothing but to the database. What all did I mention? Data dot. What is data? Data is nothing but the data that we have in our memory. So this data, 150 rows, 5 columns, will be pushed to the database using to underscore SQL function. Then within the function, I have some parameters. What are they? The first one is iris underscore data. What does this mean? This is the table. Okay. So this is the name of the table using which this particular data will be stored in our database test. Then using CON connection engine, this particular step has to be done. If this particular table is already existing, replace. I mean, if there is any data is existing in this table, I'm keeping it as replace. This data will be replacing the old data. Okay. Then chunk size 1000. So 1000 records at a time. It helps us to split the data and it sends the data line by line. Index false represents, if I open this, we also have index. Python by default support indexing. So index should not be pushed to that table is what it says. So let me execute this. Is it done? Yes, it is. Output says 150. That means 150 records have been pushed to the database. So let us go and check. So it is test under tables. What is a table? My table name is iris underscore data. So this is the table. Let us go and see the data, whether the data has been pushed to the database or not. Yes, it is. See friends. Clear? So together they are 150 records. Okay, so the data has been pushed to the database. So now till here we have done just to bring the real-time scenario. So in real time, you'll have the data like this in your database. In the database, you'll have multiple tables. So upon one or many, depending on the case, you'll be working on one table or two tables. It depends. So assume that you're working on one table. So it is iris data. So you have the data in your database. Now, what is the second step? Once if the connection is established, you can run the SQL queries. Is this a SQL query? Yes. It's an SQL query. What is it? Which command it is? Select command. What is the syntax for select command? Select star from table name. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm storing this command inside text function. Okay. And I'm giving this to a variable SQL. See. Then I'll go and execute this particular SQL. See, once after storing this command in a variable, what I'm going to do, I'm using read underscore SQL underscore query function, which is from pandas. Okay. So this particular function helps us to read the SQL queries. So where is the query? It is stored in SQL. So pass SQL inside the function, and as the connection is representing the engine, you are also supposed to pass the connection name. And if you read the data, if you execute this line, once after executing this line, this particular query will be executed. What does this mean? This means fetch the entire data, select star from table name. So this will give us the entire data. So all the data will be fetched and it will be stored in df. So for sure df size should be same as data. Let's go and check. So we have data, we also have df. If you see the size, both of them are same. Let us both compare both of them. This is data and this is df. Any difference? No, nothing else. Friends, this is data. You see data frame, df data frame. Two data frames. So this data frame is representing the data which we have loaded from an Excel file, and this df data frame is representing the data that we have fetched from database. Any difference? Is there any difference? No. Even though if you want me to scroll down, I can do it. There is no difference. Okay. So in this fashion, we'll establish the connection, and you can use, once after creating the connection, you can run all your SQL queries. Each and every SQL query will execute, friends. Whatever we have learned so far will execute in Python. Why? Because of this connection. Because of this connection, it executes all SQL queries using this function. Will execute them. Read SQL query, read underscore SQL underscore query, which is a function which we have in pandas. Is it clear? I'll repeat what we have done so far as a diagram. So where do we have the data? The data is in a file. So assume this is a file .csv. The data is in a CSV file. So this data we have read from CSV file to Python memory using read underscore CSV function. Into Python memory, we have read the data. Once after reading the data into Python memory, what did we do? We connected Python and database, and from Python, we have pulled the data. So this data have been pushed to database, to a table. Inside database, you'll have multiple tables. So to one of the table, we have pushed, and the name of the table is iris data. Once after the table is present inside the table, so this is actually the forward step is representing the real-time scenario. In order to bring that real world situation, we have done all these steps. Okay. Then once if you have the data in your database, I'll fetch it using read underscore SQL underscore query function from pandas, using that SQL statement, SQL commands back to Python. So the same data will be pulled back, will be fetched back. So that is what we have compared. Both of them will be same. I hope it's clear. And if you have questions, yes, feel free to ask. I just took a small data set and I have done. Okay, I have completed the part of the connection. And if you would like to do it on different data sets, take any one of the data set and try to do the same thing. Okay, just within 5 to 6 lines of code, Python code, you'll complete the connection part, right? So do we need to install? No, nothing. No drivers, nothing, not required. Just install these. First of all, friends, you'll not have these libraries pre-installed in your machine. Even though if you have Anaconda Navigator, I don't think SQL Alchemy will be installed previously. You are supposed to install them. Okay, install SQL Alchemy. Once if you install, you can execute the lines of code. Simple. So This is what we are supposed to understand with respect to connecting Python and database. A small topic but very important topic. Why? This is what we implement in real time. Okay. So Akhil, every time will SQL Alchemy only be used? No. There are n number of libraries. There are n number of libraries which helps us to integrate both Python and database. One of the widely used library is SQL Alchemy. Very widely used. Okay. So it depends on your machine. Okay, the load that you are going to keep on the server, it depends. Probably you can go till thousands. That's what I felt. I feel more than 1,000. I don't think it does not support. Okay, so try with thousands of records. It will support. It has to uh, create the connection, and you can be able to fetch the data as well. But I don't think if you go beyond it, it supports. No, because this particular database we are hosting on the local server, right? It is on local machine, right? But in real time, you know you can also work on millions of records. That's not an issue. Since we are working on our own machines. Depending on the features of your machine, it changes. So I cannot specify that exact answer here. Right. So friends, that's all for the day. Small topic, but an important topic has been discussed. And so before you leave, we have also posted a Google form where you can register for your certificates with respect to this SQL program. Okay, even you can share it with your friends in order to get a certification for this database management using SQL. Okay, so this program, and moreover, I feel this particular session, no, the entire SQL sessions have done in a right way, because you guys are very, you're joining on time and making the session great, right? So in future, as I have discussed earlier, we are coming up with new programs. Okay, I want every one of you to be part of each and every program. Okay, it will be on the emerging topics like machine learning, deep learning, computer vision, NLP. Okay, generative AI. We are coming with new topics. So don't misuse these sessions. Even if you have your friends, if you have any kind of folks who are looking out for these sessions, ask them to learn. The main reason is nowadays the industry is expecting all these particular topics. They're expecting these skills from us. So put some efforts, and at the end of the day, you'll be benefited. You'll get a you'll be hired very soon, right? So I'll stop it here. And if you have any kind of technical or non-technical questions, you're free to ask. You can feel free to ask. Thank you so much. I no, I wish you the same. Even friends, before you leave, give your valuable suggestions and feedback. And do continuous learning. On each and every day, you should learn something. Okay, it might be a small topic or a big topic. Never mind, but learn continuously. Okay, till we get a job. Moreover, even after getting a job, you are supposed to learn. See, in IT sector, what is the main the main thing they focus is on is skill. Okay, you are supposed to update on the new technologies time again. No one is going to sit and stay back with whatever they know, right? They have to update. If they don't update, probably they'll be fired. Yes, that's what happened. And moreover, even our packages will be decided based on those things. Anyways, let us not go into those. So if you find this session is great, just give a like, and even do share to your connections, to the relevant people. And in soon we are going to launch paid courses. Okay, complete online and offline trainings will be provided from our side. Okay, if you feel the training is going very well, yes, share among your friends if they are interested in learning these. It might be data analytics, data science, or Power BI, whatever it might be, even AI. Okay. Yes, ask them to join these sessions. Thank you so much, my friend. Okay, so that's all for the day. We'll meet in the upcoming program. Until then, take care. Have a great day. Signing off. Bye.